And here's a little pro tip that can really change the way you look at situations like this: flip the focus. Instead of asking, why them, not me, try asking, what's next for me? That shift takes the power away from comparison and gives it back to you. Jessica has already proven that she can reinvent herself. She went from being an actress to becoming a powerhouse entrepreneur. She's navigated transitions before, and she'll do it again. That's the kind of energy we can all tap into. Instead of dwelling on what we see in others, we can start thinking about what we want to build next for ourselves. And let me say this: healing doesn't mean you never feel that sting. It just means you learn to move forward anyway. And that's something Jessica has shown time and again. Now, here's where I want to turn it back to you. Because honestly, I think everyone watching this can relate in some way. Have you ever had that moment where you found out an ex moved on, and for a second, it just hit you in the gut? Maybe it was a picture online. Maybe it was seeing them out somewhere. Maybe it was a friend telling you casually, not realizing how it would feel. How did you handle it? Did you compare yourself? Did you spiral for a while? Or did you find a way to pick yourself back up and say, okay, my story isn't over? I want you to think about that, because Jessica's story is really just a mirror. It's not about her ex, or the model, or even the age gap. It's about how we, as humans, deal with the fact that life moves on. And sometimes it moves on in ways that make us question ourselves. But at the end of the day, the real question isn't about them. It's about us. It's about how we keep moving forward, how we keep choosing ourselves, and how we remind ourselves that our worth isn't defined by anyone else's story. So as we wrap this up, let me leave you with this. Jessica Alba's moment wasn't a failure. It wasn't weakness. It was human. And that's something we all share. Because at the end of the day, the strongest people are not the ones who never stumble. They're the ones who stumble and still keep going. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had that moment where you saw someone from your past moving on, and it made you reflect on your own life? What did you learn from it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I know so many people can relate, and your story might help someone else too. And if this resonated with you, stick around, because the next video is all about how other celebrities handled heartbreak in the public eye, and some of their stories might surprise you. And hey, if you enjoyed this chat, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe share this with a friend who could use a reminder that even the people we admire most still go through very human things. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the headlines. It's about the heart. Now here's the second part, the media magnifier. When you or I go through something like this, maybe a couple of friends notice. Maybe you vent to someone close, maybe you cry it out, maybe you just keep it inside. But for Jessica, there are cameras everywhere. Paparazzi catching every small detail, every glance, every smile, or lack of one. What might have been a quiet, private moment of sadness for her instantly became a headline. Imagine that for a second. Imagine your lowest days being photographed and broadcast for the world to comment on. That's not just pressure, it's exhausting. And then there's the bigger picture. And this is where we start to feel that sting of comparison. Because when you hear that your ex is with someone younger, someone glowing, someone who looks like they're in the prime of their life, it's natural to compare. You start asking yourself questions you don't really want the answers to. Am I being left behind? Do I look as good? Do I seem as happy? And the thing is, those thoughts don't come because you're weak. They come because we live in a world where comparison is baked into us. Social media, magazines, news stories, everywhere we look, someone's life looks shinier, smoother, easier. And Jessica's situation is just a reflection of that on a larger scale. But here's where I want to pause and share something important, because Jessica's moment isn't just about sadness. It's also about resilience. And there are real lessons we can take from what she went through. First, emotions are universal. Jessica Alba has money, fame, a successful career, and yet, heartbreak doesn't care about any of that. It doesn't skip over you just because you've made it. And in a way, that's comforting. It's a reminder that what we're feeling isn't unusual. If someone like Jessica Alba can have those moments, then it's perfectly okay for us to have them too. Second, comparison is a trap. Those photos of her ex holding hands with a younger model? That's a snapshot. Just like the Instagram posts we see every day. It doesn't tell the whole story. It doesn't show what happens behind closed doors, or the struggles that person might be facing. But we take those snapshots and hold them against ourselves like they're the whole truth. And they're not. Jessica's ex may look happy in photos, but that doesn't mean his life is perfect. Just like none of our lives are. You know, sometimes life has this way of reminding us that no matter how much success you have, no matter how perfect things might look on the outside, deep down, we're all still human. And when emotions come knocking, they don't care about status, fame, or fortune. That's exactly what we saw recently with Jessica Alba. Yeah, Jessica, an actress we've loved for years, a successful entrepreneur, a mom, and someone who always seems so put together. But even she had a moment that felt heavy, and honestly, it was so relatable. She was spotted looking downcast. Not her usual glowing self. Not the confident, radiant Jessica that we usually see walking red carpets or running her company. Just, a woman having a moment. And the timing? Well, it didn't take long for people to connect the dots. Because around the same time, her ex was photographed holding hands with a 26-year-old model. And let's be real for a second, doesn't that kind of news just sting? I mean, even if you've completely moved on with your life, even if you're happy and thriving, there's still something about seeing an ex with someone new, especially someone who's much younger, that hits you in a place you didn't expect. And that's the thing, right? Haven't we all had those moments? You're scrolling on social media, or maybe you hear through the grapevine, and suddenly there it is. Your ex has moved on. And they're smiling, they're glowing, and it feels like their life is a highlight reel. And even though you're doing fine, even though your life has so many good things, your stomach drops just a little bit. Your mind starts racing, and for a moment, you feel small. That's why Jessica's moment connected with so many people. Because it didn't feel like celebrity news. It felt human. Now, let's take a step back and think about it. Jessica Alba, at 44, has lived so many chapters of her life in the public eye. She's had a career in Hollywood. She's raised a family. She's built the Honest Company into a billion-dollar brand. She's literally one of those people who seems to do it all. But at the end of the day, she's also someone who has loved, who has lost, and who sometimes has to face the reminder that the past still echoes in strange ways. That's why seeing her looking downcast mattered. It wasn't about fashion or makeup. It was about emotion. So let's break this down, because there are a few parts to it. First, the reality check. Jessica's moment reminds us that emotions don't discriminate. You can be the most confident person in the world, and still, seeing someone from your past with a new partner can hurt. That feeling isn't weakness. It's just being human. It's that tug inside your chest that whispers, wow, they've moved on, even if you already know that chapter is closed. And you know what? That's okay. It doesn't mean you want them back. It doesn't mean you're not happy with your own life. It just means feelings are complicated.